Hello, everyone, and good evening from me here in Lagos, Nigeria. Depending on wherever you're joining from, good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. Super excited that you can join us. If this is your first time of seeing my face, my name is Dr. Glory Edozian, and I'm a thought leadership and visibility expert for board ready executives. And with me today is a fan. In fact, she's my board advisor. With me today is the amazing Gbeminiyi Shoda, and we're going to be talking about how to get your first board role. First of all, this is a brand new series which I've launched, which is called Female African and on Boards, and this is where we interview top level female executives, non-executive directors, board advisors, independent non-executive directors, locally, regionally, and globally. And they just share their experience about how they are sitting on top high seats of power. And Gbemini is a fantastic first guest to get us started. So super excited to have you here, Gbemi.
Thank you so much, Glory. It's my pleasure to be here. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone.
Fantastic. Okay, if you're just tuning in, please tell us your name, where you're tuning in from, what city you're tuning in from today. Love to hear from you. Love to I always like to say in these lives that I'm just a facilitator of the conversation. You are a guest and a participant. So please tell us your name, where you're joining in from. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, type them in the chat, and we will make sure to highlight them and ask. And Gbemini will also answer those questions. Hi, Mina Peters. Mina, where are you joining in from today? Tell us. Hi, Mina. Thank you for the hearts. So if anybody else is there, please feel free to tell us your name, where you're joining in from, while I introduce our guest for today. So our guest, like I said, she sits on my board of advisors. I'm super privileged to have someone of her capacity. I'll never forget the first time I met her. I was just listening to her speak. She is such a passionate go-getter. And in fact, I was just like, okay, who is this lady? I need to know her. I need to get close to her. She needs to become my best friend, frankly. So Gbeminiyi Shoda, she's a distinguished legal practitioner, transformative leader, strategic advisor with a proven track record of delivering exceptional results in corporate governance, legal services, and in innovative business solutions. She's currently the MD of Structure HQ and principal partner at the SHQ Legal, where she leads a team of a dedicated team to providing customized corporate and commercial services. Um, she sits on numerous boards, and she's very well known for brokering key deals, mergers and acquisitions, and several innovative deals. In fact, she's an innovator in her own right. Gbemini, welcome.
Thank you, Glory. It's my pleasure to be here. And of course, it's been a privilege also engaging with you. I'm also here to learn.
Ah,
So,
Gbemini, please, can we leave the humility at the door? Can we leave that humility at the door, please? Okay, all right, okay. No, but all jokes aside, super grateful to have you here. So let's see who is in the chat. We have so many people already. Okay, so Mina tells us she is tuning in from the UK. Hi, Mina, what's the weather like? We have Josephine from Lagos, Josephine Adekoya. Nice to see you, Josephine. Stephanie from Lagos. My Lagos people always representing. Prudence from Kenya. Kenya in the house. Love it. Delight from Nigeria. Hi, Nigeria. Kanye. Oh, Kai Kanye from Lagos. Dr. Azuka from Abuja. Abuja people in the house for sure. Suzanne from the United Republic of Tanzania. Nice to see you, Suzanne. We also have, let's see, Issy from Lagos. I told you my Lagos people, they never carry last. Abiola, Abiola from Lagos, and then Godwin tuning in from Calabar. Nice to see you, Godwin, the brave man amongst the women. Nice to see you. If you're just tuning in, please, if you're tuned into female African and on board, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. And our conversation today is how to get your first board role. So let's get straight to it. Let's get into it, right? What do boards really look for in first-time board members, right? What are the criterias for, and is there different criteria for both local and international?
Yes, the type of board members that companies look out for depends also on the company. I mean, what kind of sector is the company in? What kind of level or stage is the company at? What does it need for its growth stage? Because one of the things that we've established very quickly is that, having a board is one of the enabling catalysts for you growing a sustainable business. So of course, there are different criteria that is out there for a board or a company rather considering directors or new board members, and of course it has to do with capacity. What knowledge do you have to offer? What value do you have to offer? What does the company need right now that you as a professional you can offer to them? So what kind of skill sets do you have at the moment that is invaluable to the board that you are also bringing on board? So it of course varies, and there's always something that these companies or boards look out for in choosing directors that would join them.
Okay, I think that's such an interesting response, and it immediately takes me to my next questions about qualifications, right? Because
Yeah.
once we start saying, okay, companies are looking for these types of skills and everything, immediately we now have women who start feeling like, okay, maybe I'm not qualified enough to serve on a board, right? So how do you know that your experience matters for
Okay.
that your experience is even board level?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing is, what do you as a professional, what do you do? So, for example, are you a lawyer? Are you a brand digital strategist? What exactly are you a professional at? What do you do best? So, of course, you have to have been doing something that you are a master of, that you've gathered experience on over a period of time, that people know that you are good at it. They know that if you need someone to talk about risk management, compliance matters, you are the go-to person. When it comes to maybe driving, growth strategies for a business, you are the go-to person. So, I mean, the first thing really is that what are you professional at? What can you do? What value do you as a person bring to the industry or to the market or to the company, or where you currently function at the moment? So that's the first question that you have to be able to answer. What was that value that you give? Then in terms of additional qualification as to what you need to have to be ready to join boards, and you start talking about do you have a very good understanding of corporate governance? Do you understand how corporate governance works in terms of understanding your role as a director, your rights as a director, the liabilities that could accrue to you acting in your capacity as a director? Do you understand board dynamics? Do you understand how the company, the sector within which you want to be a director of, do you understand how they work? So, and then of course you also have to have basic knowledge of numbers, which is why there is a course for directors that don't have financial background. It's usually called finance for non-finance professionals, because one of the key things, about joining a company is the bottom line, is the numbers. And as a director, because of the role that you occupy, you need to have basic financial understanding. Basic financial literacy is also very important. So you need to have an understanding of the figures of, the company that you are a director of. So I would say first, be a professional of something. What are you really good at? What is that value that you bring to the board, or that what is that value that you generally bring as a professional in wherever it is that you work at? Then you now have to go for that in understanding how corporate governance works. You need to go for that to understand the role of a director. What are the expectations of a director? How do you function as a director? What are you expected to do as a director? How do you show up for the company that you are a director of? So you need to have those basic working understanding, and then be able to now earn in more on the skill set that you know comes to you, that you are a professional of, because that's one of the value that you are bringing to the board. So for example, say you are a good risk management professional. So you see that on the board that you join, you could quickly be a member of the board risk, you know, and compliance committee, which, you know, you'll be giving invaluable insight as to the risk that the company is susceptible to. How can they mitigate those risks? How can they ensure that if put in the processes that if those risks should ever arise or occur, there is a metrics to be able to, um, you know prepare for it. So you need to have your, what are you good at, then you now go to understanding what it is to be a member of the board, and then have like basic finance knowledge, very important to have that as well.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's such a great sort of journey to go through. So the first one is understand your strategic board level skills. So from
Mhm.
digital transformation, change management, to governance, to risk, to mergers and acquisitions. So understand what those sort of high level skills are. The second bit then is understanding your corporate governance responsibilities and how corporate governance works at that level, right? And then your finance, right? So
Mhm.
finance for
Mhm.
non-finance people if you're not a finance person. So
Yeah.
those sort of three key buckets to tick
Mhm.
as you begin your board journey. I love that. I love that. I think that is
Yeah.
actionable insights that we can use. And one of the things, I mean, Gbemi, you know this already. One of the things that we are doing right now is we've launched Ascent.
Mhm. Yeah.
We've opened the portal for our first 100 founding members. We're helping women build visibility, board ready women build visibility. And these are some of the things that we are going to make sure that the women in our community have, right?
Yeah.
Training, understand what their strategic skills are, and all of that. So, super excited that you mentioned all of this. If the team is here, maybe the team can just put in the chat the link to our founding members page. Can everybody hear me? It seems like my internet is going off and on. Baby, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic.
I can hear
Okay.
you loud and clear. I also wanted to add something,
All right.
Yuri, to that
Okay, good.
first bullet, right?
Go ahead. Go
In
ahead.
you know, it just crossed my mind that someone might be thinking that, oh, I'm a salesperson. Maybe what I've done over the years is that I've just done sales, or maybe over the years what you've just done is internal control. You might be wondering, how does that translate into a great skill set, for a board role? The most important thing is that you see that the sales skill is very invaluable to a forward thinking board, because at the end of the day the bottom line matters. So for someone like, you, that you are on a board, you'll be invaluable to even be on a committee, like maybe a performance board committee, that is focused towards ensuring that the company meets its targets, to be able to provide some level of, direction in terms of ensuring that the company is navigating its target market properly, able to also navigate new markets or new opportunities, that could open up for the company. So it's very important that you first are a professional, solidly grounded at something, a skill set that you are grounded in, before you now get other, opportunities, that will be able to help you to be able to navigate the board role that you're looking to access. Just saying that it doesn't matter your background, whether your academic background or whether the experience you've gathered over time, right? There is value in it as long as you're able to succinctly articulate it. It's, yeah, it adds up.
I love that. I think articulation is so important. So important. So we have a few people that have joined us, Bemi. So we have Walter from Zimbabwe. Hi, Walter. We have another LinkedIn user from Angola. Hi, we have Buki. Buki is also in our board advisor in residence program. She's joining from Lagos. So amazing. And then we have some comments. Somebody says, I agree. Read three last financial statements and audit statement before joining the board. Somebody says that. Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes. What this person is talking about is doing your due diligence before also accepting board roles. Before you accept a role in a board, one of the things is very right. You have to demand for their financial statements, right, to be able to understand their history, the trajectory that they are currently on. You don't just accept any, board role, especially for boards that you don't know the owners or the promoters quite well. So it's very important that you do your checks. And one of the checks is, going through their financial statements.
Amazing. That's a good one. What if it's a new company? Maybe it's a subsidiary that is being formed from a
Yeah.
larger company. How do you then measure?
So if it's a new company that has no previous historical, right? What would help you to understand is, their business model. What are they trying to achieve, right? What exactly is the problem that they are solving for? You also need to know the profile of the promoters or the people running the business to understand what they've done in the past, what is their trajectory, who have they worked with in the industry, what are they trying to achieve. I was telling you something on Saturday about a director that was trying to join a board and requested for certain documents to do our KYC, on the
Mhm.
company. And the first thing she said was that she saw some errors in the financial statement and said she's going to join the board. But her first duty as a board member is that she's going to move to sack the auditors of the company because of what she has
Wow.
spotted in reading the financial statement. So yes, it's very important, that you do your checks before accepting board roles because also of the nature of the liability that you undertake as a board member.
In fact, that's so important. This liability thing, don't be so excited about joining a board that you throw caution to the wind. Very, very important. Prudence says, "Wow, I have a financial modeling and valuation and analysis certification in addition to my psychology degree, but I never thought to add it to my board applications. No wonder they didn't succeed." Thanks, thanks for telling us, Prudence. Okay, Walter from Zim. Then we have Prudence has a question. She says, "Is it true that a board CV differs from a regular CV?"
Absolutely. Your regular CV, which is maybe your resume, you are talking about, your academic qualification, you're talking about where you've worked, what you've achieved, maybe your hobbies, and all of those things. That's what you're literally talking about. But your board CV is very different. You're giving us a high level overview of who you are, what you've achieved, and the value you bring on board. Is really about the experiences and the solutions that you've solved in the past in terms of, okay, who are you as a person, what have you done, what value have you added to the ecosystem within which you work, what have you been able to gather over the years. So it's more like an eye level pitch deck of yourself. You're literally saying that this is the value I bring on board. So you're saying, oh, I'm adept at, risk management, this, you have a good eye for this, for that. So it's different. Your board profile, is very different. And you are focusing, Prudent, on the skill sets that you believe that the board requires that you bring on board. So you would have also done your homework to understand the industry that the company operates within, what you think may be lacking. You might even take your time to look at the profile of other board members, maybe what they have. So, for example, if I were to pitch for a board and there is a lawyer already on the board, I won't necessarily stress my legal skills. I might maybe stress, maybe I have some level of, audit background, I might stress other skill sets that I don't think that they might have on the board at the moment, just so that the board doesn't feel like, oh, the skill set you are bringing in, someone else already brings that in. So it's just very important, that in preparing that CV, you're articulating the true value that you have and what value you've brought into the ecosystem, that you've operated in for years. So yeah, it's very different, Prudent.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks for that question, Prudence. We have another question. NED writes how to reduce the risk related to a company that doesn't disclose some issues that it's facing, i.e., toxic work culture, weak board dynamics before joining the board. Some companies don't disclose if you ask. Any advice?
Hmm. Well, this is I've seen this happen before. For some reason, when some people offer you board roles, they probably do not, disclose some of the challenges that they face. But one of the things I say is that the reason why you join as a board member is to add more value and to be able to truly make a change. So when you identify these issues as a board member, you are well within your rights, even when the issues are not brought to the fore by management, you are well within your rights to identify these issues and prefer a solution. Whether you do it on a committee level, you can be in a committee, for example, where, if you are a member of the governance committee, you'll be talking about the work culture of the company. So you could move for a culture change. You could also advise that, a consultant be hired to review the culture of the company and then prefer solutions to that. In terms of liabilities, there is the F and GPC for that. And if you are not a member of a particular committee, remember that there are quarterly board meetings where you meet and you can be able to raise these issues. I'm on a board of a company. I sit on one of its committees, and there are times when, as the chair of that committee, I call for emergency meetings. I call for other meetings. Perhaps maybe when we review a report, we don't, find certain things satisfactory. We still want to do a dive in. We call for other meetings just to run through it. So yes, you can attack these things on a board level. So you joining the board is also to make the company better, make things better, and fix it up. So don't just sit down and say, there's nothing I can do, I'm just one man. You have to raise it at the board meeting, bring it to the attention of the chairman, note it that you would like steps taken up on it, and ensure that those steps are properly, actioned. So yes, you can do something about it.
Amazing. So if it's not disclosed, you get there, you find it. As a board member, you have a role in smoothing
Yes.
in smoothing out some of these issues. Love that.
And if they
Thank
don't agree, you can also always resign. You can say you don't want to be a part of it anymore. If they don't align to try to do things the right way, you can resign and notice as a basis for your resignation.
Amazing, amazing. So I'm not sure who asked that question. I think it said LinkedIn user. So I'm sure that answered your question. Okay, so guys, please, this is so interesting. Please keep the questions coming. Like I mentioned, a lot of these things that Gbeminiyi is saying, if you need help with that at Ascent, these are some of the things that we are tackling for our 100 founding members. If the team is here, please, can you just put the link so people can find out more about how to be one of the 100 founding members? Okay, so Gbemi, my own question now. What are
Yeah.
some ways that women underestimate their experience?
Hmm. One thing I realized is that naturally some women we like to stay humble. Remember when I joined the call as well, I was like, oh, and you said leave your humility at the door. It just comes to some women naturally. So we understate our achievements sometimes because we probably want to be perceived in a certain way. We try not to blow our trumpet. We try not to put forward our values. But there are also some women that, they have huge energy. They are all about putting themselves out there. So I mean, I always tell myself that be friends with those people with big energy. But I was reading a post sometime last week that said, in your friendship circle, always have a delusional friend. Someone that tells you can do all those things, those dreams that you have, but like this is really delulu. So have a delulu friend in your circle that is pushing you on to a lot of things. So I will say that playing small serves nobody, doesn't serve you for real. Let's learn to articulate our value. Let's learn to note out and say the opportunities that we're looking out for. Some people will say they want board roles, but nobody in their circle knows that they're even looking for board roles or open to board roles. So who knows that you are looking for board opportunity, what have you told? If you don't tell anyone, if you don't do anything about the opportunities you are looking for, sometimes they don't come knocking on your door looking for you. Sometimes you have to put yourself out there and articulate what exactly it is that you're looking for and seeking to achieve. So I would say yes, we should be vocal.
Be vocal. I love it. Have a Dilalulu. In fact, I was saying to myself, maybe I'm that how do you say Dilalu?
Lulu.
Lulu. I'm that friend. I'm that friend with the big energy that believes we can all do whatever, right? I'm that friend. I'm
Yeah.
that one. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so can you let's talk about how you got your first role, your first board role. How did you secure that opportunity?
So it's a bit difficult for me to even remember the first company I sat on the board of. To be honest, I think I
Yeah,
sat
because there are so
on
many. I love it.
no. So, well, based on my own experience and what I do, of course, a governance champion. So, of course, naturally, was a company secretary for years, still a company secretary to a number of companies. So, of course, the opportunities arise. And then when they arise, you see, because of the network I've built and the people I've worked with over the years, they've seen the value that I bring on board. So, I mean, when there was a vacancy, the question was, why not you? Right? Why can't you sit on the board and then represent us? You understand what we're trying to achieve. You are qualified for it. And then why do we have to look outside? So it started with my network of people that understood my competence. They knew what I bring on board. They also understood that I'm happy to take on such additional responsibilities. So when that opportunity came up, it was just natural that okay, we're happy to put you up on this opportunity to sit on our board. In fact, I had a client that wanted to fill. I was doing a board recruitment for a client, and I put forward candidates. The clients are put forward candidates, and the client just called me and said that you are my candidate. It was just like the way you told me that you wanted me to be on your board, and I was like, it's just like, why not? If not, you are qualified. You understand what I'm trying to achieve. You have the time to be able to help me roll up your sleeves and you know accord the time that I need. So yeah, it was opportunity meets preparation and also having a good network that understood the kind of value I brought on board, right? And when the opportunity came up, it just felt like I was the perfect fit.
But I completely hear that story, and like you said, it was very natural. I think we'd only met twice, and I think it was in the second meeting. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, please be on my board, right? But
Yes.
you must have you must have a values mind a particular type of mindset in how you show up,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
because
Yes. Yes.
it's so maybe you want to share that with us. How do you show up in places?
So again, excellence is my watchword. Everything I do, excellence is a huge part of it. So I definitely take up space where I go. I am that person that I go to meetings, I show up, I hear the problems, I am very vocal about what I think should be done. But beyond that, Glory, I'm also execution oriented and driven. So, there are people that talk, but they don't do. So I do, and I have results to show for it. Even in conversations and engagement with clients, there is a certain drive. I spoke to someone, I think it was 2 weeks ago, a very, one of the top weights in the ecosystem. And on top, speaking to her for the first time, I've known her from afar, haven't spoken to her before. And the first thing she said was like, I like your energy. You're so quite aggressive. I love it. Let's do it. Let's move. And for me, it's also in how you engage people. So showing up, putting my best feet forward or my best foot forward, and ensuring that in interactions with me, you very quickly understand the value that I bring on board, my mindset, my approach to things. You very quickly can be able to place it. such that it leaves you thinking, oh, I need to keep having access to this person. This person brings the right level of value that I require. So I'm not thinking in plain, in meeting you, for example, I wasn't thinking, so I've just been a company secretary. No, I would tell you what I've been doing, what I'm doing, what I'm gravitating towards. If there are points of collaboration, I will, immediately I think we were introduced by a mutual friend, and I've,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've had interactions in the past, but nothing, So
Mm-hmm.
immediately when we met, we just gravitated, and the conversation, quickly morphed into what I was doing, the value had, and then you saw it exactly. So you saw it. So from day one, people should understand that you're always selling yourself. You're always selling something. So when you're
Mm.
interacting with people, it's also an opportunity for you to sell yourself. What value do you bring on board? So when people interact with you, they quickly recognize it. And then you're able to say, oh, I need this person to do this for me, or oh, that person would be this missing piece that I require. So it's very important. It's value driven. Relationships generally are value driven. What
I
value
love
do you
that.
have?
I love that. But I want to just dig deeper into that, Bimi, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a mindset that you
Mm-hmm.
must have. Because sometimes I'm working with clients, right? And they are hesitant to push their ideas forward. They are hesitant to articulate their thoughts, right? And I feel like, a mindset shift, there's a different mindset from what they have and what you have.
Yeah.
There's something in you that must feel like, oh, what I'm saying is right. So what is the
Mm-hmm.
mindset that allows you to show up in that way? Say, oh, do this. Oh, I think this is this. What is that mindset that you carry?
Okay, so I would just step back a bit. I think that sometimes it's fear, right? You ask yourself, what's the worst thing? You know that thing, I was having a conversation with you, and I told you that my worst fear, whatever it is, I have thought through it, and even if it happens, I already, you understand, I already know. So what's the worst? You ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen in this
Mm,
moment?
mm,
Because sometimes fear holds you back, So
mm,
sometimes you're afraid to strike, you're afraid to take that step, you're afraid to have that engagement. So that's why you see that some people don't put themselves forward. It's fear, or maybe they're in a room, they try to be that person that is maybe close to the wall or close to the back, sitting down beside the refreshment. It's fear. People don't want to um, be that person. They're like, oh, what if it doesn't happen? I don't want to be, the person that is ridiculed. It's fear, and fear would always hold you back. So you have to understand that, beyond, yeah, of course you believe in yourself, but you have to understand that you are who you are. So place that bet on yourself and carry yourself as such. So I think for me, I've always said it, you need to have audacity to be able to do things. You have to believe in yourself, in the things, the value that you carry. I mean, you work in a job every day, you offer value, you still have that job, or you're about to get that job or that role. So you have something to offer. You don't work in a charity organization, so they're not paying you because you're not offering value. So you need to be able to put that best foot forward in interactions with people to say, okay, this is who I am, this is what I offer, this is what I can do. And in having conversation with people, you shouldn't be afraid to say that this is who you are. So even anytime I'm talking to people that I'm meeting for the first time, I assume I'm selling myself. So I am just so quick to go. And before you know, people tell you, oh, I'm looking for this. And I'm like, oh, I can put you onto this, I can put you onto that, I can do that. So it's value. You put so much value on the table, and everyone just wants to be around you and wants to engage with you because you have what they need one way or the other.
I love that. I love when you said put a bet on yourself, take a bet on yourself and audacity. I mean, there's if there's
Yeah,
any
yeah.
if there's any perfume you should wear this year, it's the perfume of audacity. Right? It's a perfume of audacity. And then you've earned yourself a mentee from Angola. She says, Daniela says, I love it. I want Gbeminiyi Shoda as my mentor. So brave and a lot of courage in male dominant companies. Love it. She says, uh, she says, got the art of asking smart questions. Daniela from Angola. Yes, yes. Daniela, please get on the queue. There are many people, many, many people. Okay. Somebody asked in the chat, in the chat. So we have Omotayo from Indiana. Hi, Omotayo. Thanks for joining us. Obi asked, how how do we apply for board roles?
Okay. So, Obi, I don't want you to think of it as a huge formal thing, but I'll just start small. In terms, first of all, um, maybe I'll stick to the application before I stick to the preparedness of it. In the application for board roles, have you, Obi, articulated your value? Does your friend know that you are looking for board roles? Because sometimes even the people around you, your network, they don't even know the opportunity that you're looking out for, right? Your corporate network or the people that you are connected with, whether horizontally or verticals, do they know that you are looking for a board role and you are actively applying for this, or you want to be able to get on this? That is one. So have you leveraged your network to be able to get the opportunities that you are looking for? Of course, when you've done that, the other thing I would say is that you need to. I mean, Gloria has spoken about the Ascent Club. She's spoken about trying to put women on roles, trying to ensure that the women are getting the kind of opportunities that they will like to have. So it's also a community that you should join. So I would also say join a community that can expose you to the kind of opportunities that you will like to be able to get. So that's also a good way to be able to, get into the space that those opportunities are available. I think with that, and also again leveraging. I mean, our visibility queen has always told us, of course, putting it out there, articulating the value you bring to the table, leveraging the technology tools that we have, articulating your value, putting it out there to say you're looking for this board role. These are the things that you're looking out for. And again, it's not just to say I'm looking for a board role. What value do you have to offer? Why should people, why do you want to be a director in a company? So you have to succinctly be able to articulate it as well.
Amazing. Obi, I'm sure that answered your question. Carol says, great points, showing passion and value you bring even from the interactions you have with others. Completely.
Absolutely.
Love that. Love that.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things you said on Saturday, so for those that don't know, we have a board advisor in residence program, and Gbeminiyi was one of our facilitators. And you spoke about, women getting prepared to be board advisors on MSME companies. And one of the things you shared about in your own board story was having a great network, right? How critical are the right networks, and how can women start to build these networks to attract board roles?
Yeah. So I will say, I mean, my network are primarily made up of people that I've had, I've had to work with in the past. So people that were on the same level in an organization, people that were my superiors in organization, also my subordinates in organization. I think my network is majorly made up of people that I've worked with in one shape or form or the other. So that's really my network. People that you also know in the industry. So, for example, maybe colleagues or professionals in the industry that you've had opportunity to meet, maybe in terms of meeting them on task, on projects. Those are people that also form your network. So it's also important that I mean, for me, you keep those close, because sometimes people forget that in the work environment, you create relationships that you could sustain and could draw down on at some point in time. So I think for me, I don't joke with that at all. So in fact, a huge portion, in fact, my clientele right now is majorly from people that I've worked with, at some point in my career or the other. So those are people that will literally put you on, that would give you a lot of the opportunities, and rightly so, because They know your track record. They know your capacity. They know what you can do. They can vouch for you. They can speak for you when you are not in a room. So those people are, you don't have to go too far to start saying, I want to go for industry mixers and start, creating a certain circle of network. Where you are right now, you have people that are your, that can be your network, people that you know. So except you have bad behavior and those people can't vouch for you. But I would say that those are your network. Those are people that will put you onto opportunities because they know your capacity, and they can be able to speak for even your friends, people that you've worked or you've gone to school with in the past. There are also people that maybe you have a friend that is now working in a certain company or runs a certain business. Those are people that can also put you on to opportunities. So don't overlook your verticals, or people that you've grown with in the career, or people that were your bosses in the past. I don't think you should overlook that.
Very powerful. And I think it all links together with me. So what you were saying about showing up, having that audacity to articulate your thoughts, and that
Mhm.
spirit of excellence and that mindset of confidence and betting on yourself. When you now show up
Yeah,
like that in your network, you are memorable in your network. And so when opportunities
yeah,
arise, people naturally think of you. So it's all interrelated.
exactly,
I mean,
exactly. They will naturally think of you because you they know what you've done and they can vouch for you.
love it. So we're going to start wrapping up now. So if you have any last minute questions for Gbeminiyi, please, this is the time to put it in the chat. If you're just joining, you've missed a lot, but you can always go back and watch from the beginning. We're talking about, this is female African and on boards, where we interview top female executives, African female executives who are non-executive directors, board advisors across the world. And we have Gbeminiyi Shoda here talking about how to get your very first board role. And this has been a riveting conversation. I want to speak to now to mistakes, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the mistakes that you see women making when trying to secure board opportunities?
Yeah, the first one is not being vocal about it. People are not having that conversation at all to talk about the opportunities that they seek. So I will say that that's the first mistake. You're not being vocal. You're not talking to the right people. People in your network don't know the opportunities that you seek to explore at this stage of your career. So you not being vocal about it is number one mistake. You not being able to articulate your value proposition. What is it that you bring to the table? Being humble, playing small, and not talking about the skill set that you have. It's very important that you actually articulate the value that you bring on board. So we need to be vocal, articulate our value, and then you also need to be prepared. I always say this, please. It's not enough for you to just get put it out there, but you need to be prepared when these roles come. I've seen women that have been given opportunity on board roles, and then when the roles come, they don't accord it the time that it requires. They don't show up, they don't ask questions, they don't take up space on the board. They beg them to comment at the board meetings, and sometimes the women are are easily changed because they don't participate in board roles when they are given the opportunity. So you also need to be prepared. You need to be sure that you have the time and what it takes to be able to accord is the attention that kind of role requires. Yeah, so yeah, you have to be prepared and put yourself out for the opportunities.
I love that. I love that. So, first of all, we need to just leave this small thinking behind, right?
Yeah.
And go for it. And when we get the opportunity, accord it the time it deserves. Omotayo has an interesting question. She says, how do you know when you're board ready?
I was gonna say when you know, but but I think I think for me, I'll probably use my experience, right, in terms of when I knew I was board ready. First of all, I had value to be able to give. I had something to offer. Um, I had something that I thought companies required in terms of strategic direction or support that I could be able to offer. I also had, time that I could accord to such opportunity or such role. It wasn't such that, my calendar was so crazy that I couldn't, provide time for it. So there was time, there was value. I had the requisite, experience in terms of, what was required. So yes, I would say that once these three things check, I will say that you are board ready. Note that I haven't tied this to your biological age. I think
Hmm.
yeah, because I think I had my first board role when I was maybe 31 or 2. Can't remember
Wow.
now, but it has nothing to do
Amazing.
with you. Yeah, it has nothing to do with your biological age. It has more to do with your level of preparedness, the value you have to offer. You have to have something to offer, Yeah.
But do you think, in terms of level of preparedness, does that relate to years of experience? So one of the things, for
Not
example, we
necess-
are
not
finding.
necessarily. Not
Okay, but
necessarily. I don't think
do you think,
so.
mhm. You don't, okay, you don't think so. So let me,
Yeah,
so
not
one of the things we're
necessarily.
finding, right, with the applications for women who are joining Ascent, we have women who have 20 plus years experience and all of that, but and they are in C-level positions already. But we also
Yeah.
have women who have like 10 years experience and they're in tech, but they are already in C-level positions. So
Yeah.
do you speak to that in terms of years of experience? Because some people might say, oh, maybe I need 20 years of experience, I need 15. What
No. Yeah, so I don't think it's about that because, like you rightly said, even the landscape is changing, right? You see people that have lesser experience already moving up the ladder, also getting these opportunities, especially where you have people coming up with solutions and are able to create a platform to provide those solutions. So I wouldn't classify based on age. I don't think value has to do with age at all. I think that is either you have something to offer or you really don't have something to offer. So it doesn't have to do with the levels or years of experience that you should have. That being said, I'm not saying that if you have just 1 year experience at something, then that makes you a professional at it. Let's be clear so that we also create that balance. You have
Mhm.
to, when I say you've been a professional at something, like indeed you do have something to offer. Your industry peers and people that have worked with you, they do understand that this is what this person is good at. They can't vouch for you. Your industry peers know that, this is it, and rightly so, you come correct. So if you have 6 years experience, 7 years of experience, been doing that thing, I think that, yeah, I believe you're good to go. So it's not tied to your years of experience at all. In fact, I think the people that have waited 20 years, I think they waited too long. That is why we have that gap between the generation that have been taking on board roles and the younger generation that are yet to take up a lot of space. So I think that we need to quickly fill that, gap that exists.
Amazing, amazing. That's such a great way to look at things. Okay. Omobolanle says, I'm just joining in and it's great to be here. I would love to know if as a company secretary I can be considered for board roles.
Omobolanle, I'm a company secretary. So yes, you can be considered for board roles. I was a company secretary of a public company for years before starting Structure HQ. So yes, you are in fact in the best position to be considered for board roles because guess what? You have an advantage, you have certain understanding of the rudiments of governance, of how board operates. So yes, you are in a very good position to be a director.
Love it. Love it. So let that statement let you fly. Olajuwon says, thank you so much. Are there courses to help me prepare adequately? So I know you had mentioned
Yes, I
corporate
did.
governance program, finance for non-financial managers. Are there anything? Is there anything else that?
Understanding your role as a director, liabilities, rights. There are a lot of outfits that provide trainings for directors. So you just have to leverage that. But yes, absolutely.
And one of the things we're going to be doing as Ascent is also
Yes,
brokering some of these
Ascent.
training opportunities. Yes.
Yeah,
So
Ascent would
please,
also be training you.
yes, yes, yes. Our board advisor is speaking. Advertise us. Okay. So how do you position yourself when you run your own business? Omotayo is asking.
So I am assuming that when you say how do you position yourself, you mean maybe as a professional looking for opportunities. What I would
Yes.
also say,
Yes. So
yeah. When you so I run my business, and again, what value does Omotayo bring on board? Are you able to quickly articulate that value in terms of what you run, the solutions that you prefer? Remember that now that you run your business, you are the chief sales officer of your business. So who better to sell yourself than yourself? So yes, it's you have to be very positioned in terms of ensuring you're able to articulate the value that you bring on board for your business so that others are able to quickly understand that. And then when they spot opportunities, Omotayo comes to mind.
love it, love it. Thank you. We have then somebody says a full dose. Dr. Azuka says a full dose of enlightenment. I completely agree, Dr. Azuka. This has been phenomenal. And then another question. She says, I'd love to join the program. I have 7 years as a board member and audit committee. Is it just for first-time ladies? No, it isn't. If you would like to join, so what is Ascent? Ascent essentially is your visibility launchpad for board roles and speaking opportunities. So essentially, we believe that African women across the world are doing great work, and they deserve to be on global platforms and in top tier leadership positions. And so at Ascent, what we are doing is we are breaking down visibility to the fine minute detail and creating visibility platforms so that you can attract the opportunities you deserve and also get the training you need to attract these opportunities as well. So if you'd
Yeah.
like to find out more about joining our founding members, our first 100 members, you have to apply. So you can go right now to ascentclubglobal.com founding dash members. So that's ascentclubglobal.com founding members, or you just go to Ascent Club LinkedIn page and you can get all the details. Okay, so let's wrap up. Women, I have two fun questions here. Now, I want you to imagine a woman has gotten her first board role and she's walking in confidently to her first board meeting. What is the soundtrack she should be playing in her mind? What's the soundtrack? How are we going into this meeting?
Hmm. We are playing Big Energy by Ladipo.
Big
So
energy.
yes, that's the soundtrack. Big Energy. So
I
you
love
know,
it. I love
I
it.
think that's
I
the
love
best.
it.
That's the best soundtrack to play on your way to that meeting. Big
Big
energy.
energy.
We don't
Big
play
energy.
small at the board meeting at all. So you would speak, be heard at the meeting. You will contribute to that meeting. So big energy all the way.
Love it. Love it. If you don't know the song, please type it into Google right now or app or wherever you listen to music and listen to it. Okay, and then my final question, complete this sentence. African women should be on boards because
Our voices should be heard.
hmm, I love it. Our voices should be heard. Our voices should
Yes.
definitely be heard. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Love
Our
it.
voices should be heard. That's why we push for a lot of board diversity, because the voice of a female board member in the room, it brings an invaluable perspective to the business. Naturally, we women, we like to ensure that we have the safety net to be able to ensure that the company is being run in a certain manner. So even when you're in a board meeting and everyone is saying, "Oh, let's jump off the cliff," a woman is asking that, "Do we have all the safeguards in place? I wish we were going to land properly." So I will say yes, our voices must be heard as African, female board members. Very important.
Love that. Love that. Our voices must be heard. So I just seen Onye. I think that's the wrong link that you've posted. The right link is the ascentclubglobal.com founding dash members. So please, can you put the right link? That's the wrong link you've posted. Okay, thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. I feel like we got the A to Z, on how to get our first board role. The first thing is understand your value proposition as a professional, right? So
Really.
You're an expert in your industry. What is your area of expertise? Is it corporate governance, risk management, mergers and acquisitions, whatever? Understand how you contribute to the success of an organization strategically, not operationally. That's the first thing. The next thing, okay, how are we going to get our ducks in a row? Training, corporate governance, right? Understand your roles and liabilities as a non-executive director. Finance, right? Understand finance for non-financial managers. The third thing, make sure that you are showing up. You are constantly selling yourself, not in a this is me way, but in a way that is audacious, and you are demonstrating your value, right? Leverage your network. Let people know that you are looking for board roles and that you are ready for board roles. And remember, it's not about your biological age. It's not about your years of experience. So it's not about whether you have 10 or 20 years of experience, but it's not about you having 1 year of experience. It's about you being a professional, an established professional in your industry, right?
Yeah.
Network. Let the right people know so that they can advocate for you in rooms and opportunities that you're not even aware of. And then when you finally get that board role and you're walking into that room, big energy.
Very.
Your voice needs to be heard. Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Gbemi.
Thank you, Glory. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you so much.
Love it, love it, love it. So, guys, remember, Ascent has been launched. We are your visibility launch pad for board and speaker ready female executives. Go right now to our LinkedIn page to find out more about how you can become part of our 100 founding members and all the perks that you will receive. Or go to our website, Ascent Club Global, to find out more information. Or you can send me a DM and I'll send you all the details. And for those of you that want Gbeminiyi to be your mentor, please come to my back.
Please.
I'm on the queue. Come to my back. The queue. I'm on the queue. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'll say good night. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.